Hey, how you guys doing? Welcome.
Hi everyone, it's Mike, and I'm here on another live stream joined by my assistant Heather Ferris of Vegas Aces. Thanks for joining me, Heather.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I always have fun with these.
Oh, so do I. You look great, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, so hopefully it's a few people will show up today.
Yes, say hi, ask questions. Don't be afraid to chat with us. We have the chat box here ready to answer your questions.
And while we're waiting for the audience to fill in, in case you don't know the topic today, it's things to do in Vegas besides gambling. But I'm open to any questions, but that's supposed to be the topic. But while we're waiting for the audience to hopefully come in, we got a comment about the show last week, and somebody asked, Mike, I have a degree in math. Would you recommend the actuarial profession? Something like that. And Heather got this response. Mike's description of the actuarial profession is 20 or 25 or more years out of date. It used to be as fluffy as he described. Now it generally has haves and have-nots. There are rainmakers that make high executive incomes, and they pull up the average, so it seems more lucrative than it generally is. It has something to do with the means versus the medians versus modes. As those non-rainmakers who can't make money out of nothing or don't claim they know the odds of an uncharted venture, whether they do or don't, but just practice the mathematical science, companies believe they can hire kids and do that, and they do. The basic dilemma of being an accountant or actuary is that you are not an income item, but rather an expense item, which you can appreciate in making Vegas Aces a success. But corporations in this century have gone full tilt on that, hiring the cheapest ones they can rather than investing in value. All of this is not strictly true, but it's heavily prevalent nowadays. And another thing, rather than soft-spoken, easygoing math nerds with eyeglasses and a pencil behind their ear, now companies almost strictly prefer aggressive, bossy, tough types. Sad, but very true. The times they are a-changin'. And I won't read the rest of it, but yeah, so to recap what I said glowing things about the actuarial profession and highly recommended anyone coming out of college with a degree in math, statistics, or even actuarial science to consider that profession. But there you heard a second opinion, and I fully admit I haven't been in the profession since the year 2000. So as he said, a lot has changed since I was in it. So there you go.
That happens. Things change, right?
Yep. And by the way, if I ever say anything that you guys vehemently disagree with, but you're watching it after the live stream airs, feel free to approach one of us, and we may read your opinion on the air.
Yep, exactly. And you can always get a hold of us through social media or email, right?
That's right.
Very cool.
Okay. Hi, John.
Hey, John. Good to see you. Glad you're here.
Okay, ask us something.
Yes, ask us anything. If you have a question, great time to ask. But I think today's topic is, things to do in Las Vegas that aren't gambling. Now, a lot of people, they come to Las Vegas and they think it's just gambling. I mean, maybe the nightclubs, maybe a show, maybe a restaurant, but for most part, people think that that's it and there's not much else to do.
Yep.
But there's so much to do here. You could do everything. So what is some of the favorite things that you like to do in town?
Yeah, before I answer that, let me say that Heather has lived here her whole life, and not too many adults in Vegas can say that.
Yeah.
So Heather would know a thing or two on this topic too. I will say that I was like one of the people you said. I wasn't the wizard all my life. For a long time, I had the actuarial job that I just talked about, and I came to Vegas just as a recreational player. I would like to think I was smarter than the average one, but I would come here counting cards and goofing off, and I don't think I ever got far from the Strip or downtown, and didn't even know what was out there. So, but I had a great time nonetheless. But there was plenty to do besides here. And what did you ask? What do I like doing?
Yeah, what's your favorite thing?
So I'm very outdoorsy, And I live close to the mountains out on the west side, so I love hiking, mountain biking, unicycling, and road biking. And Vegas is a world-class spot for technical rock climbing. If any of you saw the movie, oh shoot, what was that movie about the guy who ascended El Capitan without any gear?
Oh.
Free Solo.
Okay, yeah.
They show that he moved to Las Vegas in that movie because it is such a hot spot.
Wow.
I mean, right in our back door, we have great climbing. And even if you're not into the technical roped climbing, there's great scrambling, there's great just walking. It's absolutely, I mean, you can see just looking out to the west that there's huge mountains right next to Vegas, or if you're flying in, you might fly right over them.
So is this all at Red Rock, or is some of this at Valley of Fire as well?
Both. Red Rock is certainly a lot closer to Vegas and has, like I said, great mountaineering. There's also Mount Charleston, which, yes, the summer in Vegas is really hot. So if Red Rock is too hot for you, Mount Charleston is way up in the mountains. You can go skiing there in the winter,
cool.
So which goes to show how high it is. So there's tons of hiking there. I've climbed Mount Charleston numerous times, which is quite a high peak, the high point in the Spring Range. And you mentioned the Valley of Fire. That's a similar place to Red Rock, but bigger. And that's maybe a 2-hour drive out of town.
Cool.
So, and plus we've got the Colorado River right here, Lake Mead, Death Valley's not far away, Zion National Park is not far away. So there is no shortage of stuff to do if you're an outdoorsy type.
So basically Las Vegas is in the center of all of these different things that you can do, whether it's Zion, which is these nice, gorgeous, luscious, like, what do you call it, plants and wildlife and that kind of a thing. And then Mount Charleston, you have the pine trees, and it's perfect for snow skiing and going up to the lodge and drinking like hot chocolate on a cold winter's day, and playing in the snow and everything. And then Red Rock is great for hiking and trails. What's really good for bike riding? Like, what trails are good for that?
Okay, for mountain biking, I like to go to Blue Diamond, which is a little town just past Red Rock, and there are miles and miles and miles, I mean hundreds of miles of mountain biking trails there, and they're not that technical, so someone of an average level like me will have a great time. If you want something more challenging, one of the most challenging mountain biking areas in the country, or so I hear, is at Bootleg Canyon near Boulder City. I went there once, and that was beyond my level. But that is really some difficult stuff. And not just there, 360 degrees around Las Vegas is desert. And that desert is just full of mountain biking trails. And you can go on Google Maps and click on show bicycling, and it will show bicycle trails in the desert all over the place. So this is a great city for mountain biking, and road biking is not bad too. Mountain biking is better, but there's a lot of bike trails. In fact, I rode my bike here to Heather's. That's why I look awful. And in the long distance between us, I only had to cross through 2 intersections because there's so many bike trails.
Nice.
And by the way, if you're a road biker, I highly recommend doing what's called the River Mountains Loop, which is a 34-mile loop that goes through Boulder City and alongside Lake Mead, and the whole thing is bike trails. You will not have to see one traffic signal.
Wow.
And you will probably not see a single car.
Is that the bike trail that's near Lake Las Vegas? Is that the same one? Oh,
Yes, it goes
cool.
right past the entrance of Lake Las Vegas.
Oh, that's really cool. It's really long, and it goes from the wetlands to Lake Las Vegas all the way down to Boulder. Is that right?
Yeah, it goes through Boulder City. I'm not sure what wetlands you're referring to, though.
The wetlands. If you've never been to the wetlands is really awesome. It is on, let's see here, I believe it is Flamingo. It's either Flamingo or Tropicana near Boulder Highway. And it's a little area in the back of the houses and everything. And there's so many like paths you could go hiking on, and so many trails you could go biking on. And there's like a bunch of birds there. You could do bird watching, and it has rivers and streams and bridges, and it's just gorgeous. It's just filled with like huge grassy areas that you walk through and everything is just so filled with nature, and it's just gorgeous. It's just really pretty.
So you said like Flamingo and Tropicana and the 215?
I believe it's either Flamingo or Trop. I think it is. Ooh, if you guys remember, let me know. But I think it's Tropicana, maybe? Tropicana.
And what's the cross street?
Tropicana and Boulder Highway. And then you're going up, you know where the UNLV stadium is?
Yes.
The Boyd Stadium? It's right next to that. Like where the UNLV Boyd Stadium is, the wetlands are right next to that. And that's where you're going hiking.
Okay. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Well, yeah. There you have it. Another suggestion.
Cool. Right on.
All right. So let's see. Hopefully we have a question. Heather, what do we got?
Let's see here. So Yabara says that he is waiting for the Wizard of Oz Museum to open up. Is there any chance of a Wizard of Oz Museum opening up?
Probably not.
I like that question, though.
Yeah, it would definitely be filled with a lot of gambling stuff and license plates. But yeah.
Okay. Okay.
No, we're gonna have to wait until my fame is increased by a factor of about 1,000 before anyone would go.
No. And then Joe is saying that is at the end of Tropicana. It's at Tropicana where it turns into Broadbent, easternmost end of Tropicana.
Oh, is that near? Is that near the Mormon Temple?
I have no idea.
Okay, that's near Sunrise Mountain, right?
Yeah, near Sunrise. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, that's another good thing to do is if you look east from Las Vegas, you see this big mountain. That's called Sunrise Mountain, otherwise known as Frenchman's Mountain. And I didn't know it was called the Wetlands.
Oh, no, it's right under. It's right at the base of it. It's not before you get. It's before you get to the mountains, not after you get to the mountains. It's before.
Okay.
So the mountains are like right here, and then the wetlands are right here.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, even I learned something. But by the way, if you ever want to climb Frenchman's Mountain, which definitely is kind of a scramble and it has some loose rock, but it has great views at the top, and it's a good challenge.
Gorgeous view.
Yeah, just park near the Mormon Temple and just start scrambling up.
Have you ever went rock climbing on Lone Mountain?
Yeah,
you have?
I've climbed Lone Mountain like 100 times.
But do you do the actual rock climbing on Lone Mountain, or do you do the trail? Because one end of Lone Mountain has a trail going up to the top, and the other side of it, it's like actual rock climbing. Like you're saying they're like actually doing rock climbing.
No, I've just taken the trail 100% of the time. I've always been interested in doing a more technical route, but I don't know exactly where to go, and I'm kind of I'm actually quite careful, so I don't want to just do any old thing. You know, the first time I do something, I would prefer to go with someone who's done it before and knows what they're doing. You know, otherwise anything can happen. You can have an injury, you could die, like that woman who was lost for 17 days in Maui.
Yeah.
She intended to go on a 3-mile hike and got lost for 17 days.
Yeah, and even the places that we're talking about, they're gorgeous places, but if you take the wrong step or if you turn the wrong way or something, you could definitely fall. And Lone Mountain is a good example of that. On one side, it's just a sheer drop, and that would be completely fatal if someone ever dropped off of that.
But speaking of Lone Mountain, if you're looking for something easy, that is a small mountain in the northwest part of Vegas, and it has a trail all the way to the top, and it's kind of far from the Strip, but it's close to my house. And lots of times when people visit me, I torture them and make them climb that. I tortured Heather even more when I made her climb Craft Mountain.
I didn't know I was going to do that. It was like, let's go for a hike. I thought it was going to be a nice little simple hike. Just easy.
No.
It's nice and simple.
No, when you go out with me, I put you to work. And I never said we're not doing Craft Mountain.
Okay, so anyway.
All right.
Next.
Let's try to answer a question.
Okay, let's see. I think we are good on questions. If you guys have any questions or comments, put them in the chat. We are pretty good on comments. Is there anything else in the area that is good to do? I know me and you, we went to the Colorado River and had that kayaking trip. So.
Yeah, I briefly mentioned that. The Colorado River's there, and this is one of my favorite things to do, is at Hoover Dam, there is this special access trail that leads right down to the river, and you can get dropped off there with kayaks. And there's the company, I think it's called, oh shoot, I don't remember the name of it. Something Boulder City Adventures or something. Anyway, so they will drop you off there with your kayak, and then they give you a map and say there's hot springs here and there, and then they pick you up downriver about 8 hours later. And it is so much fun, and like I said, you pass by hot springs and what's called the sauna cave, which is a cave that has like hot water coming through it, so it creates a sauna.
Oh yeah, and it is completely like a sauna. We went through it, and it was just stifling, especially when you go really, really deep in there. It's like so hard to breathe and everything because it's just so hot and moist and just... Yeah, but one of the really cool things about that kayaking trip was we had to go in the Hoover Dam area, and that is a special government area where we had to get secret, what was it? They did background checks on us. So we had to do actual real government background checks to get in the secret area, because otherwise they wouldn't allow you in. And I always thought that was really interesting. That was really, really just neat. You know, I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting to have the, government just do a background check on me. Okay, glad I passed.
Well, to be honest, I'm not sure that they do a real thorough background examination.
Oh, good.
But they're very, because Hoover Dam is registered as a hot target for a terrorist attack. They don't want anyone going down this special access road that they don't know about. So there's a strict quota, and you have to fill out this form and show your ID. And yeah, there's a lot of security to go down this road. So unfortunately, not just anyone can go down there with their kayak and do it. So, but if you make reservations through one of these guiding companies, they will take care of all that and pick you up, and they will ask you, do you want to go with a guide or self-guided? And it's perfectly fine to go self-guided because, it's just one river. How can you get lost? And what was I going to say?
Well, we had you as the guide, and you showed us some really interesting stuff. We saw, what was it called? Emerald Cove?
Yeah.
That was really neat. And it was just a gorgeous emerald color. What was that? Is that the algae underneath, or is that, what makes it that emerald color? Do you know?
Oh boy, this is not my strong point. I don't think it's anything in the water. I think it's just the way the light hits it. Okay. So, yeah.
We can always talk about the hot springs. The hot springs, if you're ever in the area and you do these hot springs, do not get any in your eyes or your nose or your mouth, because there's bacteria that is growing in it, and it will kill you.
Yes, it will go up your nose and start eating your brain.
Yep. And so we're sitting here and we're going on this hot trail, or what do you call it? Hot springs hike on the trail. And we have to go up this ladder, and this hot water's coming down like a waterfall on us. And I'm sitting there like, I have my hat on, I have all my stuff on, and I'm just like, don't get any water in your mouth, don't get any water in your mouth, trying to climb up this ladder and everything. Scared the living crap out of me. The whole time I'm imagining myself dying of this brain-eating freaking bacteria, fungus, or whatever. But, but it's really interesting, really fun. Just don't dunk your head.
Well, I thought you handled that ladder just fine. I didn't know it was bothering you.
Thanks. The whole time I'm like, put my head down, don't look up, use the how does the shield,
Oh, that's the funnest part, by the way. And in case you're wondering, you can access the same hot spring called the Arizona Hot Spring. There's a trail from the highway that leads directly there, and it's a tough trail. It's about 3 miles each way, and you can't even do it in the summer anymore because it gets so hot.
Yeah, people die.
Yeah, someone died, and now they blocked off the whole trail during the hottest part of the year.
Yeah, so you can only go in the cold part of the year. But still pretty interesting. You have the ropes you climb up and down and everything.
Yeah. Oh no, that's the Gold Strike hot spring, which we also did.
Thinking, okay, cool.
Yes, that's a hot spring on the Nevada side, which you can access from near
the Hoover Dam.
Okay, it used to be the Hacienda Casino, but now it's called.
They have a new freeway. You
Yes.
don't go that way anymore. Now you have a new freeway and you go around it.
Yes. Okay. The last exit on the highway, the last exit, it'll say like last exit in Nevada. You take that, and that will lead you right to the trailhead. And most people who take that exit are going to Hoover Dam, but instead of turning left for Hoover Dam, you turn right, and there's a parking lot right there.
Yep.
And then you just go down the canyon. And as Heather mentioned, there's a lot of parts that are very steep and they involve using rope, but people left rope there, so you can belay yourself up and down, if that's the right term.
But it's like a 6 mile hike. It's 3 miles in, 3 miles out. So be prepared to hurt if you're not used to hiking after. Prepare to hurt. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. We do have a question from the comments.
All right.
So let's see. A Swan was asking, what is the best casino for craps?
Well, I strongly look at how much odds you can bet.
Right. So it would be the 100 times odds, right? And there's only one casino that does that. 100 times odds in Las Vegas.
Okay, I know the Cromwell does.
Yep.
Doesn't the Casino Royale do it? I know they used to.
Not anymore.
Well, I learned something.
The Cromwell is the only one that does that now.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, thumbs up to the Cromwell.
And the cool thing about the Cromwell is the field pays triple on the 12. So that's cool. That gives you a better house edge.
Mm-hmm.
And then what was the other thing? Oh, there was one more thing. Now I'm not thinking of it. But it's better.
Well, the liberal field is important. Another thing that can change is how much the hop bets pay, but those are sucker bets no matter what odds they pay, so I would stay away from those. So, but good crap strategy is to stick to the line bets, meaning pass, don't pass, come and don't come, and back it up with as much odds as you're comfortable with. I tend to think that they don't see people taking the full 100x that often. Mm-hmm. So if you are asking the question more so for, shall we say, the amenities of the game, I don't know. I know craps aficionados have very strong opinions on this topic, and it seems like the win is a hot spot. To be honest, I don't really know. I don't really like craps that much, to be honest with you, because there's no skill involved. It's just throwing dice.
Well, I mean, if you talk to the people who do dice control,
Yeah, when unfortunately I have to. Let's not get off on that topic.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say, my favorite part is when they insist that it actually works, and I'm like, well, can you get it to work? And they're like, no. I'm like, well, how do you know it works then? Because I believe it.
No, you know what I love doing is when I play with them is I will definitely bet the don't to show that I don't believe them.
Okay, cool. So let's see if we have any other questions. Yabara asks, what about horse riding places or experience? Can you ride horses in Las Vegas?
Do you have anything on this one?
Yes, you can. You can ride horses. It is near Bonnie Springs is where you do it. Right when you're going into Red Rock, there's a place on your left-hand side.
Yeah, the cowboy trails.
Yes, that's it. And you can ride horses there. They give you horses and you could do horse riding.
Yeah, I have never done that there, but I've passed by that place numerous times. And yeah, as Heather said, it's on your way to Red Rock, but it's on the left side, and you will see a little sign that says Cowboy Trails, and you park there, and you see lots of horses. And I have hiked those trails lots of times and mountain biked them, and you see lines of like 10 people riding their horses lots of times, and it looks like they're having a great time. But I've only been horseback riding once and didn't go too well, so not something I know a whole lot about.
What happens?
Okay, so This was in LA, and me and my friends decided to go horseback riding. It wasn't my idea, but I got outvoted. And so on the way there, one of my friends asked me, Mike, how much horseback riding experience do you have? And I says, this will be the first time. And he says, they're going to make you fill out a form that asks you for your experience. And on that form, do not put beginner. He said put intermediate. And so I did, and he said it's because if you put beginner, they're going to give you an old nag horse that's really slow, which they should have, but they give me an intermediate horse, and I didn't know what to do with this thing. Like, how do you get it to move? And the horse seemed like really annoyed to have this amateur on its back, and it just didn't do anything I tried to get it to do. And then finally, when it was like halfway done, it just started racing like a racehorse to the end, and I was genuinely afraid of falling off, or what would happen when it got to the end. But when it got near the end, it just came to a trot and said, "Okay, I'm done. Next." So, but yeah, I was so scared.
I don't blame you, and I bet you were sore after that. I know riding a horse it hurts so much, especially if you're not like used to it.
Yeah, well, any pain would have taken a back seat to the fear and the embarrassment. But I think the lesson to be learned there is if you are a beginner, really do put beginner.
Yeah, there's a reason.
Yes, there's a reason. Okay.
Let's see what we have. So Neon Vacation asks, what games do you play the most often and why?
Okay, good question. I could talk about this a long time. Certainly if I perceive an advantage in anything, I will play whatever I perceive an advantage in, which is very tough these days. But I think what you probably mean is, like, if I'm just playing for fun, what would I play? I never play for fun just by myself. This is my job, and I view gambling as kind of work.
Right. So when you go and sit down at the table, you're not like going to you're not going to have fun. You're not going for the entertainment value. You're going for work. It's like seeing a show and reviewing a show. It's not fun. You're working. It's not the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but let's say a friend comes from out of town and they're really eager to gamble. I love Pai Gow tiles, and I've talked about tiles before. Everyone knows I love Pai Gow tiles, so I won't go through that whole thing again. But because I'm entertaining a friend, whatever he or she wants to do, I will lean towards that way. Like my cousins love Pai Gow poker, so I will suffer through that. But
why is Pai Gow poker a suffer, but not Pai Gow tiles? They're almost the same.
That's true, because Pai Gow poker is based on Pai Gow tiles, and the whole structure of the game is the same. Mm-hmm. But I find tiles to be just more elegant and exotic, and there's more challenging hands that you play, where Pai Gow poker, most hands just play themselves. And so, yeah, that's for whatever reason, Pai Gow tiles just hits me right.
Okay, cool.
And but I don't mind Ultimate Texas Hold'em. That's not only a very good value, but it has a very involved strategy.
Now, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, the carnival game?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, as measured, if you measure your expected loss by the total amount bet, it's only 0.5%, which is better than most blackjack games.
Okay, so the house edge on Ultimate Texas Hold'em is roughly 0.5%?
Okay, it depends how you measure the house edge. If you measure the house edge as what you can expect to lose relative to just the ante bet, then it's 2.4%. Mm-hmm. But you have to start out by making an ante bet and a blind bet of equal amounts, and then you're going to be raising 1, 2, or 4 times your ante bet or folding. So by the time the hand is done, you are going to have up to 6 units bet. So, but the average amount bet is probably around, 3.5 times the ante bet. So I think if you're looking for a measurement of the value of the game, I think you should look at how much you can expect to lose to what you're putting on the table, and that's about 0.5%. Okay. So it's a great value. I love the game. It's very fun. Maybe we should make that the topic of the next show. So do you like Ultimate Texas Hold'em?
Yeah.
Did you ever deal that?
Yes, I dealt that game, yep.
How is it to deal it?
Boring. Just like 3-card poker, I'd want to fall asleep. What do you think of real poker?
I Shall we say, I think real poker is just about as perfect of a game as you can get because it involves chance, it involves math, it involves psychology. There is so much to it, and it gets endlessly deep. But am I a great poker player? No, I'm probably average. So it's certainly not a way I can make any money. So many people in my circle of friends are very high-level poker players that I'm kind of afraid to play with them. So I love the game, but I don't like losing, so I don't like playing it in the casinos a whole lot. Mm-hmm. In the casinos, people play a very tight, boring game where they fold most of the time, mm-hmm. as do I. So I might only be in like 2 hands an hour. So that's just kind of boring.
So it's more fun to, say, play a poker game with your friends at
yes.
home where everyone's in pretty much every hand?
Yes, I love those loosey-goosey games cool. where, practically everyone's in at the end and calling silly stuff like Spit in the Ocean and Follow the Queen and baseball and bowling. And I love those stupid games. And I know that good poker players hate them, but that's why I like them, because they haven't studied Spit in the Ocean and Sweaty. I shouldn't say the rest of that game, the name, but they, because these experts haven't studied them to death, it gives me a fighting chance.
Okay, cool. Now, are there any games that are board games that you like? We talked about casino games. Are there any board games?
Oh, I love board games. Yeah. I love all games. I love game shows. I love board games, and I'm very competitive. I will try my best at anything. Like when I was all through college, from probably the age of 10 to 20, I must have played thousands of games of Risk.
Oh, wow.
And I was the typical guy who sat in Australia the whole game and built up tons of power and waited for the World War, and then came swooping out of Australia and conquered the world after everyone else battled each other down.
Oh, that's awesome.
But it got to the point where my friends were so sick of me with my Australia strategy that they would say, I won't say my nickname, but they would say, if you go into Australia at the beginning of the game, I am not going to care how I do. I'm just going to go right in there and attack you right off the bat. And they did. So that was kind of the end of that. But, Monopoly, Clue, I love backgammon, cribbage,
cool.
Settlers of Catan. Yeah, board games. We played board games, so Heather loves board games too.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Now, on the topic of this video, there is a board game here in Las Vegas called Meepleville. Not board game, I should say. Meepleville, it's a store where you can actually go and you can play board games. Any board game you want. You pay $4, $5, and you can play the whole night. And you sit there, and it has shelves upon shelves upon shelves of all of these board games you could pick from. And it's so much fun to go in there with friends and just pick a board game and just play all night. And
that is such a great idea.
I love that.
Yeah, if I had more time to spend, I would just love killing time in a place like that.
It's a great way.
Yeah, I saw some place like that right in downtown Reno too.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, here's a totally unrelated question for you, Heather.
Okay.
Okay, in the movie Snow White, how does the evil queen address the mirror when she wants to ask it a question?
Isn't it mirror, mirror on the wall?
That is wrong.
Okay.
But everyone thinks that. But you can look it up on video. She actually says, magic mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?
Really?
But I have asked this question to so many people, and 100% say mirror, mirror on the wall. And it's fascinating how we're all wrong about this.
Is it a Disney thing? Because I remember in the Disney Snow White, I think it was mirror, mirror instead of magic mirror.
No, in the original Disney, trust me.
It was?
It's magic mirror on the wall.
No kidding.
And then we could talk about the books, but I believe in the original Disney book, it also says magic mirror on the wall. Although it's not originally a Disney story. If you go, back to the real early versions, it can be anything. But I think the movie is what most people remember.
Okay.
And I'm talking about the classic Disney movie. I think there was a movie recently called Mirror Mirror.
Okay.
But no, I'm talking about the original, I believe it was the first full-length Disney animated movie, right?
Mm-hmm. One of them, yeah.
I believe that Pinocchio was second.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure that Snow White was first. And it was like at the time it was a marvel. It was like animation at that level before the movie was like Popeye and Betty Boop and very simplistic. And then this, very lifelike movie comes out, and from what I heard, the audiences were just amazed. but I'm getting way off topic. But the point of the question is I find it fascinating in a psychological way how all of us can be deluded in thinking that it's mirror on the wall.
I wonder why that is.
That there is a theory floating around on the internet that somebody built a time machine and what he did was it really was originally in another time universe, if that's the right term. It was mirror on the wall, but just to mess with us, he went back in time to the time when that animator was writing the movie, and somehow he made that person change it to magic mirror on the wall. But we all have our memories from the first, from the mirror on the wall. But he went back in time just to mess with us and change it to magic mirror on the wall. And it's called the Mandela effect. And there's other examples of this too, like how do you spell Looney Tunes, and is it the Berenstain Bears? And
I remember, because they changed the E from the A or whatever, the Berenstain Bears.
I thought it was the Berenstain Bears, but it's really
Berenstain or something, Stain.
Yeah,
instead
something like that.
Steen instead.
Yeah, I could have sworn it was the Berenstain. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was growing up, I thought it was Steen, Stein.
So that's what I
thought.
thought.
Yeah. And then later on, I saw that meme, and it's like, no, it's Berenstain, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And I had to go back, and I'm like, oh, it actually does say that.
Yeah, and how do you spell Looney Tunes?
With an E, don't you? Looney tunes.
How do you spell tunes?
Toons.
I'm pretty sure it's Tunes.
Really?
I'm about 90% sure.
By the way, my spelling's horrible, so if I spelled that loony thing wrong.
No, I'm pretty sure it's Loonytunes, and you would think that it's Toon to go with the loony and toony, but no, someone please look this up and tell Heather she's wrong. But I claim tunes is spelled as it should be, Tunes.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Let's see if you guys are saying in the chat.
Someone ask us a question about things to do in Vegas besides gambling.
So Derek asks, I know slots aren't a good option for winning, but do you ever play slots for fun? And if so, what is your favorite slot?
Oh, no.
No?
No. Slots. I'm sorry, Pip. Let Pip say hello.
Hey, Pip.
This is Pip.
She's under our feet. She's like, I want attention.
Yeah, slots are, okay, not in terms of house edge, but in terms of how fast you lose your money, the worst form of gambling, because it's very fast and it has a high house advantage. So just a moderate slot player who, say, averages $1 a bet, they can bet, say, 500 bets an hour. So that's $500 bet an hour, and the house is going to take about 10% of that. So you're losing $50 an hour at just a very modest level betting slots. It is a huge money suck, and I would highly recommend any slot player to convert to video poker. But so I would absolutely never play slots for entertainment. However, part of my living is designing slot machines, mainly for internet casinos. So sometimes I have to play them just to see what the new features are. And on my website, I recently wrote 2 very in-depth articles on games called Golden Egypt and Ocean Magic. And these games are beatable, by the way.
Oh, really?
So I analyzed these games to death. And it's some of my best work in recent months, my analysis of, again, Golden Egypt and Ocean Magic. These games can be beaten. So read that if you're interested. But, so yes, I had to play those games to do my research on them. And by the way, I was like terrified that somebody would see me playing and go, what's the wizard doing playing a slot machine? I thought he was smart. But yeah, sometimes I do have to play them for business reasons.
Now, going on what you said where it's actually more beneficial, I remember a decade or two ago, we had billboards in Las Vegas that was promising like a 99% return, 99.9% return on some slot machines. Do they still do that? And what's the deal with that?
Okay. I do know that sometimes, you don't hardly see it anymore, but I remember that you would see banks of slot machines that say, these machines pay back 97%, stuff like that, 98%. And that meant that they were programmed to, in theory, pay back those percentages, but I hardly ever see that anymore. Something you do see is the El Cortez and the Rampart casinos say, they make a claim like we are something like 40% looser than the Vegas average. And that kind of drives me crazy. I think it's an abuse of statistics. What they really mean is, I think the El Cortez says something like we are 40% looser than the downtown average. So what they are saying is that, say the downtown average payback is 90% and their payback is 94%. They are saying that because you will lose 40% less money, that equates to being 40% more loose. You know, I applaud them for loosening their slot machines, but I don't like the way that's phrased.
Okay, cool.
All right,
So,
what else do we got?
Let's see. Neon Vacation asked, have you ever tried to be on a game show?
Oh my goodness, it's funny you ask.
Ooh.
There is always a lively discussion about Jeopardy in my forum, especially now with James Holzhauer. But I have, I must admit, I have failed the online Jeopardy test every time I've taken it, which is only like 3 times. But
I can't imagine you failing it.
I'm not as smart as people think. I mean,
Don't tell people that.
No, I admit it. I'm really much more average than people think, and it's not like I missed by a question or two. I mean, they don't tell you your score, but these questions are way harder than what you see on the show, and I just felt like such a dunce by the end of these tests that nope. But what kind of gets me, though, is you go to the Jeopardy website and it asks you to sign up for these online tests, or it says something like, do you want to be a contestant? And you click that, and then it says, take this quiz. And then it gives you this easy quiz, and when you're done with it, it'll give you this compliment and say, you know, you did really well. You should seriously consider trying out for Jeopardy. And then, so I do multiple times, and I get creamed. So, yeah.
So they're baiting you.
Yeah, they're baiting me. That is a good way to put it. But I've also tried out to be on The Weakest Link. I've tried out to be on Tic-Tac-Doe a long time ago, good old Wink Martindale. And as you know, I tried to be on Survivor. Heather made my audition video, and I didn't even get the courtesy of a no. So, if you're out there, Jeff Probst, what is with that? At least watch my video and say it sucked. Don't just ignore it. And it didn't suck because of Heather. It sucked because I am boring.
No, not at all. Not at all. Now, have you seen that game Catch 21?
No.
It's like blackjack. They have cards, and you try to get 21, and if you go over, you bust. And it's a really fun, easy trivia type of show. I just applied to it, and I was wondering if you wanted to apply too.
Of course.
Yes, awesome.
Who hosts it?
The Game Show Network.
Who is the host of the show?
Carlton from Prince of Bel-Air. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Carlton, you know, with the dance. I love that dance.
The only one I know from that show was
Carlton.
Well, who was the actor, the famous one?
Will Smith?
Yes.
Okay.
Was he Carlton?
No. So Will Smith, he was the Fresh Prince,
Yeah.
and then it was his cousin, and his cousin was Carlton, and he was the one with, you know, the sweater over him. He was like a preppy and everything, but he was like sort of a dork and stuff.
Yeah, I liked him.
Yeah, me too. That was Carlton. He's the one that hosted.
Okay, I never got into the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but I would be. Are they doing auditions in
They
Vegas?
are. So
what do I have to do?
Okay, so I will send you the link,
Okay.
and then you go. It's really, really easy. You just sign up. It took me like 3 minutes to sign up, and then I think they call you for auditions. And as long as you're located in Las Vegas, you're good to go.
All right.
So, yay!
Yay!
Awesome.
I would be
That'll
happy
be
to.
fun.
But I would love to be on The Price is Right. I have analyzed that show to death.
They have the prices right here. Have you tried?
Yes, didn't we go together? No, I went with someone else.
Oh, okay, but you asked me. I think.
No, I cheated on you.
Yeah.
But I went to the there's there. I don't know if it's still here, but there was a Price is Right game show, and it was very realistic to the real show, but it wasn't on TV or anything, and. It was really well done. You played the same kind of games, and there were tons of prizes. They weren't very good prizes, but but they really did a great job with it. And
Awesome.
And after the show, they let you spin the prize wheel, which was a real Showcase Showdown prize wheel.
Ooh.
In fact, it used to be from the show, and I got $1.
Oh my God!
Yes,
that's
and in
so
fact, I have a
cool.
video of that on my YouTube channel.
Oh, that is so cool. Oh, I love that.
Yes, but I just love game shows. I mean, everyone knows I'm very mathematical and I love games. So, and if I could ever make more than like $5 on it, I would love to do a website completely devoted to game shows.
That would be
and
so
just
much fun.
analyze them to death and discuss them and every which thing about them.
Do you mind if I ask you real quick? What is your analysis on that game show with the briefcases?
Oh,
What's
Deal
it
or No
called?
Deal.
Deal or No Deal. What's your analysis on that?
Well, the mathematics of it is really simple. Your value at any given time of the game is the average of every unopened briefcase. And a lot of people incorrectly think that, let's say that there are only 2 suitcases left, yours and one on the board, and one has a penny and one has $1 million. A lot of people incorrectly think that the one still up there there's 26 suitcases, I think, so it has a 25 and 26 chance of being the million. No, it has a 1 and 2. But the other argument is that when you picked your suitcase, it had a 1 in 26 chance. But it doesn't stay that way. As new information is revealed, probabilities change.
Okay.
So I've had to debunk that myth numerous times. But let me talk about the banker behavior in that show. The banker offers in the beginning are so stingy. They are just terrible. And it's not until the very end of the game that they start to get competitive. But I have never seen a contestant on the show do this. But like I just said, a simple way to get your value at any given state is just take an average of every remaining suitcase. And let's say that it's a pretty high offer. And let's say it's that situation where it's just $1 and $1 million. So the average, so your value is $500,000 at that point and 50 cents. And so then it kind of puts you in a tough spot if, let's say the banker offers you $400,000. It's a sure thing, but it's way less than the value. And that makes for some good drama.
Do you think you would do a good job on that show because you could calculate the odds?
Oh, sure.
immediately?
I would do great, and I would be an awful contestant because I would just sit there with my calculator, no to every offer. I would be the worst contestant ever. But I promise if I get on Survivor, I would do you guys proud, CBS.
So get him on Survivor.
Please. That's about all I have to say about Deal or No Deal.
Okay. Shall we go to the comments and see what else people are asking?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Ooh, we got a lot of people saying a lot of stuff.
Did anyone correct Heather on the Looney Tunes yet?
One person said cartoons. No one else said anything. If you guys know, say something. No one else said anything. And Neon Vacation said it's called the Mandela effect.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
Okay. Yabara says, what off-strip casinos do you like for a total resort feel? Gaming, shows, food, everything involved.
Yeah, I think we got asked that last week, but I think a really good value is the South Point.
Mm-hmm.
It's very inexpensive. It has good restaurants. It has very good video poker. I think every blackjack table is 3-2, very clean. Very big place. Movie theaters, bowling alley, good shows. So I highly recommend the South Point. Yes, it's a little removed from the Strip, but if location's not that important to you, I highly recommend the South Point. And how about you, Heather?
So I would say it would either be between Rio, because I love the Rio. I just love the Rio. That's just one of my favorites. It's a good one. And I don't know. I'm liking the Silverton at the moment, but that's just because I really like waterfalls and mermaids. So I don't know if that really counts, because that's a total bias type of a thing. Plus, they have a little, they have this trailer on the side where you could go bowling. It's like a little hideaway bowling alley. I love that bowling alley.
Yeah, I bowled there.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, isn't it cool?
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, and Heather's mentioning they have an enormous, like tank there.
Yeah.
And they have a mermaid that goes in there and swims around, and you can get your picture taken with her.
Yeah, exactly.
And I didn't know you had a thing for mermaids.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, and it's just, I love going there and watching, because she dives in, she waves to everyone, and she's there's coral everywhere, there's fish everywhere. It's just a really fun, free experience to go see. I really enjoy that. I like the Rio because you could go up on the top where Voodoo Lounge is and have a gorgeous view of the Las Vegas Strip, and that's free. You don't have to pay for that. I really enjoy that. That zip line that we did on the Rio scared the living shit out of me.
More so than the bacteria eating your brain?
Ooh. I think it did. I think it scared me more than the bacteria eating brain. And you want to know why? When we went on the zip line on the Rio, me and Mike, the chair that you sit on, I swear to God, it's a flat little thing. That's it. You just have this flat little thing that you're sitting on. My butt's bigger than that. And they don't have handles, and it's just one little seat belt across the way, which I swear was way too big. Like, I knew I was going to go right under that and off that thing and just fall to my death. I knew it. And they don't have handlebars. I had one handle on here. I think you had one handle on your side. And then both of us are just like, fuck! Grabbing each other like, holy shit! And that scared the living crap out of me. I am not scared of heights, but because we didn't have much safety, because it was just a flat little chair that you sat on that was seriously small, and just that scared the crap out of me.
Well, I enjoyed it. The scariest part, I thought, was that it takes you from one building to the other. And when we got close to the other building, it's not like it started to slow down. I thought we were going to smash right into it.
Yeah, it's still going fast. And you're like, okay, it's coming. Okay, the building's right there.
Yeah, I'm ready to stop. Slow down here.
Exactly.
But you don't just like slow down until the last second.
Exactly. And then it feels more like a slingshot. You slow down, but you're just as you start to slow down where you stop, you get flung backwards and you go back up the line, but not as a slow speed. It's not like it's a slow speed. You get pushed back like pretty fast. And so you're going backwards just about the same speed as you were going forwards, and you're like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. That scared the crap.
Well, I didn't know you were so scared at the time. You kept a good poker face.
That's good, because inside I'm like, holy fuck, I'm gonna die.
Well, hopefully we don't get punished on YouTube for you saying the F word.
Oh, oops. I will refrain from cursing.
We're going to have like a quarter jar where you have to put a quarter in every time.
You could call me up and be like, okay, YouTube just demonetized my video because you cursed. Nice job.
But yeah, what did you like better? The Voodoo, the Rio zip line, or the downtown one?
I had more fun with the downtown zip line, but if you want to be scared, the Rio zip line is way better for being scared.
I did enjoy the downtown one more. I wasn't as scared by the Rio one as you were. But yeah.
But the downtown one
Yeah.
is fun because
Yeah.
it's like you're doing a Superman. So the
Yes.
way that they have you harnessed and everything,
Yeah.
just put your arms out and you're
Yep.
doing Superman.
Yep, and there's two choices. You can go the short way where you're basically sitting in a harness, or you can go the long way where you're flat and you can pretend like you're flying.
Right.
And although the long way is more expensive, I think I haven't done the short way, but it looks like it's well worth the extra money.
Yeah, the long way is much more.
And
worth
you're
the
also
extra
higher
money.
up.
Yeah, and you go the entire Fremont Street. So
Yep.
I think with the sitting one, you stop right at the D. I think it is. It's the D/Fremont Casino is where you stop. And then if you're going on Superman, you go all the way down to the California or the Golden Gate.
Yeah, I believe that's correct.
Cool.
Yep.
So shall we see what people are saying in the comments?
Yes.
Okay, so let's see what we have here. So, yeah, someone says Looney Tunes with a U.
Yay, I was right. You were wrong. Na
And-
na 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 na.
And Derek also says Mike is correct for Snow White. It is Magic Mirror.
Thank you. I am right as always. Yes, and by the way, the reason let me ask you this. When did Nelson Mandela die?
Wasn't it recent, like in after 2000? That's not recent. God, the last 20 years. Okay, it feels recent.
Which decade?
I don't know. I'll say 2000 to 2010.
You're right.
Oh, good.
I don't remember the exact year, but a lot of people incorrectly think that he died well before that.
Okay. No, wasn't it like 2004 or 8?
Yeah, I remember
something?
Obama went to his funeral, right?
Yeah,
So,
there you go. So it must have been like 2008 then.
yeah, somewhere around
Okay.
there. So, but for some reason, a lot of people think that he died way before that.
Okay.
So,
I got a question for you.
yes.
So, what year, or about what year, you could, give or take, did they start allowing cartoon characters like the Looney Tunes, like Disney, on the strip in cartoon characters? Because before, you couldn't do that. You couldn't go on the strip and solicit your services like that. They would kick you out immediately. And then after a certain time, it was allowed, and now you have all these characters on the strip that you could take pictures of and, tip and everything. Do you know when they started allowing doing that?
It seems like it was certainly since I moved here, because and I never thought about it. I thought maybe people just didn't do it before.
No, they did. I used to do it. In 2004, I owned a business called Ganesha Body Art, and I actually went down to the strip with my little pre-made cabinet that I had, and I would draw henna tattoos on people. And I would be there for a few hours, and then security would come and tell me to get the heck off, and they'd kick me out, so I'd leave, and then I'd come back the next day just to do it all over again. So yeah, they wouldn't let you do it. You would be kicked out. You are not allowed to do that. And then, do you want me to tell you the year?
No, let me guess. But I love that business idea, by the way.
Thank
You're gonna
you.
have to give me a henna tattoo sometime.
That would be fun.
Yeah. Okay. So, I know that you see like showgirls a lot and things like that. I'm going to say that it became allowed probably around 2012.
Yeah, it's about the same time. Yeah, it was the early 2010s.
Yeah.
2000s? How would you say that?
Someone please tell me in the comments, what is the name of this decade and what is the name of the previous one? This has driven me crazy.
Okay, so the previous decade would be the millennium, wouldn't it?
People call like a generation the millennials.
Wouldn't it be 2K?
I would just interpret that as the year 2000. I mean, I think that the most common way people refer to it is as the 2000s. But I don't like that, because I think that should include everything from 2000 to 2999.
Well, how would you do like 1900? It would be the 1900s, wouldn't it?
Well, some people say that they called the 1900s, the 1900 to 1909 decade as the aughts. And people would say, I was born in 1908. But no one says that anymore. It's antiquated.
Okay.
So please no one say that's the term for the 2000s decade. I personally call them the zeros.
Okay.
But the rest of the world hasn't caught on yet to what should be right.
Uh-huh.
And in referring to this decade, I would say just the 2010s. I would prefer to just say the 10s.
Okay.
But yeah, I must admit I say the 2010s.
It's so much easier because you have like the 70s, the 80s,
Yes.
the 90s, and then you have
Yeah, and then you don't know what you have.
right. It's like the 2000s. I don't know. Okay, let's see what we are saying in the comments. So yeah, Jay says 2013 for Mandela.
All
So,
right.
that was
Okay.
really close.
Yeah, you were close. And I see we're running out of time, by the way.
Yes.
Let's have one last question.
Okay, one last question. Perfect, because we only have one more question. Stefan says, Michael, what are you up to these days besides the slot machine design consulting that you mentioned? And many thanks for your blackjack basic strategy table on your website.
Oh, you're welcome, Stephen. I still write for the Wizard sites. I'm doing that on a part-time basis, and I design slot machines and do other consulting work with some of my other time, and I also enjoy working out, and as mentioned at the beginning of the show, I love biking and hiking, unicycling, stuff that keeps me in shape. So,
And for the past how many years you've been hiking major mountains, right? Like you have some crazy mountains on your what you got done list.
well, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, if I may toot my own horn, I have climbed the high point in California, Oregon, Washington, Nevada, Arizona, Utah, New Mexico, and Colorado. I've climbed the following Cascade volcanoes, and granted there's some overlap here, but Mount Hood, Mount Rainier, Mount Adams, Mount Baker, Mount Shasta, Mount St. Helens. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of that stuff. I've climbed the third highest mountain in Mexico, Mount Ixtociguatl, if I'm pronouncing it right, which
that
is over
was cool.
yeah, over 17,000 feet, and would love to do more of that. Just need to find the time. Hoping to do some more stuff in Colorado this summer. If anyone wants to climb some 14ers in Colorado with me this summer, let me know.
That sounds like a good offer.
So yeah, that's what I'm doing. So
Cool.
why don't we close it with that? So
Sounds good.
I see Jay is here. Thanks so much for joining me again, Jay. I think you're our best fan. Yeah.
And when can we expect you next?
So I'm good for next week.
Awesome. So we'll see you guys on Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Well, I should be thanking you, Heather. Heather is the one that this is her studio, and she does all the technical stuff and puts it up on my YouTube channel. And all I need to do is just show up. So thanks so much, Heather.
No problem. Anytime. We'll see
Okay.
you guys later.
Bye, audience. Have a good time.
one.
Bye.
Bye.
Be good.